Next up is our top five candidates for defensive rookie of the year. This one I think is a little bit more exciting because there's a lot of big players, a lot of great talent here. This is what this draft was basically. The backbone of this draft was built on the defensive players, especially the defensive line with the edge rushers and all that stuff. I think we're going to see maybe the same players, but maybe different rankings. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what we have here. So I'm going to let you start off on this one. What do you got at number 5?
All right. At number 5, I have Devin Bush of the Pittsburgh Steelers because, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been waiting for a Ryan Shazier replacement. That's what they get in Devin Bush. We talked about how much of an impact this guy will have on the defense when it comes to playing all 3 downs, when it comes to being the cover linebacker that they need on 3rd down, when it comes to just everything. I mean, he's going to be able to blitz in this scheme. We know that Pittsburgh does a really good job with linebackers and kind of elevating their play with the scheme that they have, the Blitzburg scheme. So he has a chance to kind of rack up some sacks, rack up tackles. He's perfect for their 3-4 defense. He's going to have the stats, like I said, and I think he's going to be a leader from day one, which is going to, I think the Steeler fans are going to embrace him from day one. So I'm thinking about not only the play on the field, but also the intangibles that make a defensive player or defensive rookie of the year. And that is what Devin Bush brings to the Steelers right away.
Funny you say that, because at number 5, I have Devin Bush, the linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like what he brings to the table. Of course, with no Ryan Shazier, as Mitch brought up, they've been lacking at this position for the last year and a half and needing that leadership a little bit. And bringing in like a guy like Devin Bush, I think is going to really help this team, especially on the defensive side. He plays on the defense. But I think overall what he brings is a little bit of energy, a little bit of finesse that the linebacker position has been lacking here for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a while. And having him be here with the pick that they got, I think was a steal, considering they got him. They traded up a little bit to get him, and they wanted this guy. Like they put their money, all their chips, for this guy to work, and I think he is going to help that linebacker crew a lot. So number 5, I have Devin Bush. Number 4, what do you got?
At number 4, I have the other Devin White.
There you go, Devin White.
Devin White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Similar reasons. I think he's going to come in and be the leader of this defense, and that's why they drafted him. I think he's one of the most promising linebackers coming out of the draft in years. He's going to be a tackle machine. I think the Bucs defense is going to suck. And if it's any better than I think it's going to be because Devin White is going to be a huge part of that, which elevates his case for the award. Yeah, I just think he's going to be a really good player right away. I don't really think he's going to have much of a learning curve in terms of getting into the lineup and then performing. And I just think he's going to be a really good player. So Devin White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like it. I don't have him on my list, but he is a very high honorable mention. I'm a big fan of linebackers, so I would put him at this number 6 spot.
The thing about linebackers is it's an award that's like kind of stapled in our mind, like in terms of giving it the defensive like rookie of the year or player of the year, or like the impact of a defense. Like everybody like looks at linebackers for the award. Plus, if they get like a lot of tackles, which a lot of younger linebackers tend to do, then there's a good chance that they win the award, so.
Yeah, Darius Leonard and Leighton Vander Esch were rookies last year, and they had 3 highest tackles.
Exactly.
So definitely agree with that point there. At number 4, I have Ed Oliver for the Buffalo Bills. I think they got a steal here, considering the Giants should have taken Ed Oliver. And the Bills are just adding to their defense. It was absolutely a fantastic pick. This guy's a beast. I know a lot of people don't watch Houston games, like Houston college teams. What does that say? Oh, Jesus. That's hurtful. That's for the Giants, though. That's definitely for the Giants. Nobody really watches Houston games, but if you ever watched it or if you watched highlight reels, you're like, damn, this guy is a huge, like a monster on the field. He just, you circle him in. You're like, this is the guy that's going to bring this team down or bring the offense down. And with Ed Oliver and this Bills defense, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do this year. And I think he has great potential here. At the defensive line, I think they can do really well this year. And Ed Oliver, I think, has a high chance. Again, this is a very loaded class for rookies on the defensive side. So putting Ed Oliver at 4, where most years he could be number 2 and number 1, it is hard to do. But for me, he's over here at number 4.
At number 3. I have Ed Oliver of the Buffalo Bills.
There we go.
I have Ed Oliver because, look, the Bills defense last year was top 2 in the league, or top 3 statistically. So, and first in pass defense. They add Ed Oliver there. He's going to be a part of one of the better defenses in the NFL right away. He's going to be one of the big contributors pass rushing wise. He might be able to put up a lot of sacks. And if the Bills do well, like I expect them to, where they're borderline playoffs, he'll definitely get a lot of attention for the award. So Ed Oliver, I think just on that defensive line, he's going to, and Sean McDermott's a great coordinator. He'll know how to use him right away. I don't think he's a project like somebody in our comments is saying. I think he's going to be a very good player. And I think he's here at number 3.
Is he a Rico Gathers project?
No.
No, he's infinitely better. Okay, here at number 3 might surprise people considering he's the number 2 pick in the draft and the highest picked defensive player. But I'll explain. Nick Bosa is here at number 3 for me. I really like what Nick Bosa brings. I think he is a very athletic guy. If you watch this tape at Ohio State, I mean, he was making crazy plays, and you're like, man, this Bosa family with Joey Bosa is like, it's crazy how much they can provide to their teams. I have him here at number 3 because San Francisco is going to have a really good defense, I think, this year, and I think their defensive line is going to do well. But I feel like the other 2 guys are going to stand out on their own teams. I know it's a weird comparison, or it's weird to say without telling you who the number 1 and number 2 picks are, but I feel like they're just going to have a greater impact on their defense as a whole based on their one player. You know, as an 11-group team, there's only certain things that you can do to stand out. So I think Nick Bosa is going to do well. I think he'll have a decent amount of sacks this year, but I still have him here at number 3. I think he's going to be one of the better defensive rookies here.
At number 2, I have Nick Bosa. Reason why I have Nick Bosa at number 2 is because he's probably going to have a lot of sacks. So if you want to win an award that's defense in the NFL, get a lot of sacks. So that's what Nick Bosa is going to do. I think he's going to have around 10 sacks right away. The reason why I don't have him number 1 is because he's probably going to get injured like he already has. Yeah. So the Bosas are known for getting injured, and Nick Bosa even more so than Joey Bosa. So that being said, I think he'll probably miss at least 4 games this year, which is going to hurt his chance for winning the award. But when he's on the field, you could argue he is number 1. But overall, he's just – I think his game transfers to the NFL right away. When he's playing, he's going to be an absolute force as a pass rusher. So I look forward to seeing him play. And I think the 49ers will be good. I think they'll be in the playoffs, like I've said many times, which is going to help his case as well.
Yeah, I got to agree there. Now, I'm assuming that – this guy isn't even on your list here at number 2, which is interesting for me.
Wait, maybe.
Most likely. Josh Allen.
He's not on my list.
Okay.
You want me to give a reason why?
Yeah, give me a reason.
I don't think he's going to play enough.
I think with what
if he's a pass rusher, which they said he is, he's going to be a rotation player. Because I don't see him starting very much. Because that defensive line is so good. I don't know how much he's going to actually play. I
think if you're gonna take him with, here's the thing, the Jaguars never expected to get Josh Allen. You know, with how the draft was setting up here, they never thought come number 7, Josh Allen was going to be on the board. But I feel like if you took that risk, you took who the best player available was, which many GMs think that is the reason to go to, and not, get the need, you get the best player available.
Yeah.
I think they really want to implement him in this defense, and I think they are going to try their very best to do so. I agree that they will probably take some snaps away. They do have a very loaded defensive line, but we've seen, some issues with what's going on with the Jaguars. Telvin Smith's gone for a year. I know he's a linebacker, but that is going to hurt their defense a little bit. And Ngakoue hasn't shown up for mini camp. He's still waiting for a contract, so it could be a little bit of a dispute there. I feel like if you're going to invest that number 7 pick and get that best player available, even if you weren't expecting it, you're going to put in the work for Josh Allen. And I really like what I saw of him in Kentucky. I think he is an absolute beast. And I feel like people should be talking about him a little bit more personally. But that's why I have him here at number 2. And once again, I think we have the exact same number 1. But since you're first, I'll let you go ahead and explain why.
I am picking the guy that was so happy about meeting people on his ultimate team the first day he got to the team, Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is one of the best interior defensive line prospects I've ever seen coming out of the draft. He's going to be a force from day one because he really doesn't have any flaws in his game. I think he's going to be a great pass rusher. He's going to be a great run stuffer. I think he could instantly lead the Jets in sacks this season. And if the Jets, with all that hype surrounding them, it's in New York, he's going to get a lot of media attention. If he does lead the Jets in sacks, if he does, lead the Jets in kind of being the best defensive player on the team right away, which I think he probably could be, other than maybe Jamal Adams, this guy's just going to be a beast. I can't really say much else, and he has a good attitude. I think he's going to fit in right away. I think everyone's going to love him right away. Nothing really bad to say about him. I just think overall he probably is the leading horse in this race right now.
First off, one of my best and favorite personalities since being drafted. He literally said bless you to himself in an interview. Second, he's being compared to Aaron Donald. If you're being compared to Aaron Donald, I think you're doing something right. I mean, personally, I don't know, but I think you're doing well. And third, he's huge. He's massive. I mean, this guy is one of the biggest defensive linemen out there. He is a great run stopper. You saw what he did in Alabama. I think he's going to have a crazy season. And for the Jets, that have a couple of great defensive pieces, especially in their secondary. I think here they needed that defensive line help, and this guy is definitely going to come in year 1 and make the biggest impact. When I'm looking at number 1, who's going to make the biggest impact for their team going forward and what they need in 2019? And I think Quinnen Williams is going to do the most out of any defensive rookie. Again, a lot of great guys, even guys that were honorable mentions on our group, probably could still make a top 5 in most years. But with Quinnen Williams leading the pack, I think he's going to be one of the higher-rated defensive guys here, and I really like what he's provided in Alabama and what I think he can do in New York. So that's why I think we both have him here at number 1. So for those guys watching solo, like the video, comment who your top 5 defensive rookies are, and of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel.